Here is something that should not be possible. The same water heater brand can be both the best tank you can put in your house and one of the worst, and which one you end up with has almost nothing to do with the name on the sticker. It comes down to where the unit was bought and who actually installed it. So before you spend a couple $1,000s replacing yours, let me rank these brands top to bottom and show you how to land on the good version instead of the cheaper tank wearing the exact same label. The short version, a professional grade State or A.O. Smith, is the one to beat, with Bradford White a close second. Stick with me because that same State and A.O. Smith name is also going to show up at the very bottom of this list, and the reason why is the whole point. I have dug through what working plumbers actually install, read the warranty fine print, and pulled together the field experience of a shop that has put in more than 5,000 of these things, so you do not have to guess. Quick note before the list, this ranking is for standard tank water heaters, the tall cylinder most homes have, because that is what the vast majority of people searching for this are replacing. If you are shopping tankless, the names to know are Rinnai, Navion, and Rheem. If you want a heat pump or hybrid unit, Rheem and A.O. Smith lead there. But for the regular tank going back into your garage or closet, this is the list that matters. Let me start with the single most important idea because it reframes everything that follows. There are really only a handful of companies actually building residential water heaters in this country, and they stamp those tanks with a lot of different brand names. Most of them also build two versions of the same tank. One version goes to plumbing supply houses where the pros buy. The other goes to the big orange and blue box stores where homeowners buy. It is the same brand and the same shape, but a very different tank on the inside. Hold on to that because it is going to explain why one brand shows up at both the top and the bottom of this ranking. Now let me get into the tiers, starting at the top. The S tier, the best you can buy, is State and A.O. Smith. And there is a catch attached, so stay with me. These two names are actually the same heater from the same manufacturer. One tank rolls off the line and gets a green A.O. Smith label, and the identical tank next to it gets an orange State sticker instead. Same company, same factory, just a different badge. So when you are agonizing over State versus A.O. Smith, stop. You are comparing a thing to itself. But the S tier ranking only counts for the supply house version, also called the professional grade. This is the heater your plumber pulls from the supply counter, not the one stacked on a pallet at the retail store. When we install these, it is common to see them run 12 to 15 years, where the rule of thumb for replacing a tank is about 10. They come back with far fewer dead gas valves, cracked dip tubes, and worn out anode rods than anything else out there. It is about as close to a set it and forget it tank as exists, as long as you still flush it once in a while. The warranty is the other reason it sits at the top. There is no customer hotline you have to fight your way through. If one of these fails under warranty, the plumber walks into the supply house, says this one went bad, and walks out with a replacement part or a whole new tank. Nobody puts you on hold. Nobody makes you prove your case to a script reader. The claim just gets handled. Next is the A tier, and this is a name a lot of people already trust. Bradford White. It lands one notch below the top, and the reasons are specific. Bradford White is built right here in the United States, and it is sold only through plumbing supply houses, never the box stores. Plumbers love it for exactly that reason, because it takes the box store price game off the table. It carries the same easy supply house warranty as State and A.O. Smith, so if it fails, getting it covered is simple. So why is it not in the S tier? Two small things. Across thousands of installs, Bradford White has shown up with a few more gas valve issues, and it still uses some plastic fittings where brass would hold up better. Plastic on a water heater cracks and gets brittle over the years. Brass does not. If Bradford White swapped those plastic pieces out for brass, it would be sitting right at the top with the others. It is a genuinely great tank, with a couple of things I wish they would tweak. Now the B tier, which is the last group I would still install without much worry. This is GE and American Standard. You know both names because they have their hands on half the fixtures in an American house, from toilets to faucets to water heaters. The tanks themselves are fine. The problem is what happens when one fails. Warranty support runs through an outsourced customer hotline, so your contractor ends up making a string of phone calls and jumping through hoops just to get a claim processed. I do not think that is some scheme to make the tank die early. I think these are giant companies with too many product lines to build the kind of contractor support the supply house brands have, so they farm it out, and you are the one who feels it when something breaks. They also come with standard 8-year warranties and a few more reports of gas valves and anode rods giving out sooner than they should. Good enough tanks, weak on support. Here is where the list takes a real dive and where I am going to make some enemies. The C tier is Rheem and Ruud, which are also the same company under two names. And I want to be fair here because the hardware is not the problem. Rheem makes a ton of equipment. They are one of the leaders in heat pump water heaters, and plenty of review sites rank them #1 for tanks because they are everywhere and they do not fail often. All of that is true, and a Rheem in your house is not something to panic about. So what drops them down here? One thing, the prorated warranty. This is one of the more frustrating setups in the whole industry, and it quietly works against you. Rheem sells what is basically the same tank under 6, 8, 10, and 12-year warranty labels at different prices. The longer warranties are prorated, which means the payout shrinks the older the tank gets. So if your tank fails in year 7 of an 8-year warranty, you are not getting a new heater. You might get a small store credit, something in the neighborhood of $75, and that is the end of it. There is no real way to argue it because that is how the warranty is written. One more trap worth knowing, Rheem also wants the unit registered within 60 days of install, and miss that window and you can lose the coverage entirely. What makes it stranger is that Rheem does not prorate the warranty on their heating and cooling equipment, only on the water heaters. The tank itself is good enough that the warranty is the only thing keeping it out of the better tiers. When one is already in a house, the first thing we tell people is that the warranty is weak and a headache to deal with, and that next time they would be better off with something higher on this list. Now we get to the bottom, the D tier, and this is the part 1 teased at the very start. The D tier is Whirlpool and the box store editions of A.O. Smith and State. Yes, the same A.O. Smith and State that sit up in the S tier. This is the whole point of this video. Here is what is going on. The heaters sent to the big retail stores are built to hit a specific low price on the shelf. Take a 40-gallon professional A.O. Smith from a supply house and an identical looking 40-gallon A.O. Smith from a box store, and the supply house one weighs about 11 pounds more. That weight is not packaging. It is a thicker steel tank, a better glass lining inside, more insulation wrapped around it, and brass fittings in place of plastic. The box store version also tends to use a weaker aluminum anode rod instead of the magnesium one that actually protects the tank from rust. So that 11 pounds is the difference between a tank that lasts 12 to 15 years and one that limps to 8 or 11. Whirlpool is just the box store brand I trust the least, so it earns its own spot down here. And across all of these retail units, the warranty is back on your shoulders. You are the one calling the hotline, sitting on hold, hearing that your call is very important to them. It is not. To be fair, a box store tank that gets installed well and flushed every year is not a death sentence. It is just a worse tank for the same money, and that is the part that makes no sense. Get a professional install with a professional grade tank, and you skip the whole gamble. Let me say something about price because it ties this together. In our world, all 5 of these brands land at almost the same installed cost, somewhere around $2,300 to $2,800 for a 40-gallon gas unit, and an electric tank lands in a similar range. That figure moves with your region and your fuel type. Nationally, a standard tank swap often runs anywhere from about $1,200 to $2,500 installed, more if your setup needs new venting, an expansion tank, or code upgrades. The point is that the unit itself is a small slice of the total. Since the good brand and the weak brand cost about the same to put in, there is no reason on earth to choose the weak one. So let me put the order back together in one breath. State and A.O. Smith Professional at the top, Bradford White right behind, GE and American Standard in the safe but annoying middle, Rheem and Ruud dragged down by that prorated warranty, and Whirlpool and the box store tanks at the bottom. I want to be straight with you about why the rankings online often look different from this one. A lot of those best brand articles are built around affiliate links, and they tend to crown Rheem because it is the easiest brand to buy online and link to. They are not lying about the low failure rate. They just leave out the prorated warranty and the whole supply house versus box store quality split because neither of those facts helps them sell you a heater. The plumbers actually putting these out on the forums and in the trade line up much closer to this list, with Bradford White and Professional A.O. Smith and State at the top and the retail units at the bottom. So here is what to actually do with all of this. Use a licensed plumber and let them supply the unit from a supply house. That one decision gets you the professional grade build and the no hassle warranty in a single move. Lean towards State or A.O. Smith Professional or Bradford White, and you are choosing from the top of the list. And when you get the quote, ask the plumber for the professional or supply house model, not the box store version, so you know exactly which tank you are paying for. If a contractor wants to put in a Rheem, ask them point blank about the prorated warranty before you sign off. Then comes the part that decides whether any of this pays off, which is the upkeep. Whatever brand ends up in your house, flush a few gallons out of the bottom once a year to clear the sediment that bakes onto the tank, and have the anode rod checked every few years because that rod is the sacrificial metal that rusts so your tank does not. A magnesium anode and a yearly flush are what carry a good tank to that full 15 years. Skip them, and even the best heater on this list dies early. The brand sets your ceiling. The install and the upkeep decide whether you ever reach it. If you want the specific professional grade units worth buying, a magnesium anode rod, and a simple flush kit to keep yours alive for the long haul, I have put everything down in the description so you can match it to your own setup. So the next time someone quotes you a water heater, you are not just nodding along to a brand name on a sticker. You know to ask for the supply house model, you know which two brands sit at the top, and you know the one warranty question that separates a good deal from a future headache.